Harihi Om. Om Gananahum Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavim Kavinamupamashravastamam Jektarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadana Chanvan Nudivissida Sadanam Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Sadashiva Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Parjanta Vande Shri Guru Paramparam Om Shri Shankaracharya Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavirjankaravavahai Tejaspinavati Ma Vitpishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
Namaste Mahodaya. K. Lalita Bhagini.
Yes, sir. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Shashtodhyayaha Atma Sayyama Yogaha Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Anasita Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriyaha
Anashtita Karma Balam.
Anashrita Karma Phalam. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Bhanureka Bhagini.
Yaisanyasamiti prahuhu yogantam viddhi pandava nahya sanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana.
So here is a yam. Yam sanyasamiti prahuhu yam, not yai.
Okay.
Yeah? Chant again.
Yam sanyasamiti prahuhu yogantam viddhi pandava nahya sanyasta sankalpaha yogi bhavati kaschana.
Good.
Sheila Shinde Bhagini.
Yes, ma'am. Arurukshormuneryogam karma karanamuchyate yogarudhasya tassaiva shamakkaranamuchyate.
Good. So we did up to this shloka yesterday. So when we look at this particular chapter, which is Atma Sajyama Yoga or Dhyana Yoga, Bhagavan starts indicating that Anashtita Karma Balam Karyam Karma Karotiyah Sa Sanyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragdinna Chakriyah. Yeah, the one who is doing his karma, which has to be done by him as duties, without having dependence, anashtita, not depending on karma pala, without having dependence on karma pala, the person who is doing his duties, that is, duties ordained on him, what he is supposed to do, okay, then that person is sannyasi as well as a yogi. Saha sannyasi cha yogi. Na niragdirna chakriya. It is not necessary that only the person who is having orange robe and then already given up fire rituals or not doing anything need not be considered a sannyasi. Actual sannyasi is the one who is able to give up the karma pala, and then not only karma pala, primarily he is not driven by raga dveshas. Okay, so karma pala is the one which is not to be dependent on the. These people do not depend on karma pala. So these people are sannyasi as well as yogi. So he is not categorizing them as sannyasi or yogi. He is now telling that both of them can be either sannyasi or yogi. They are that. Then whatever we say, yam sanyasamiti prahuhu yogam tam viddhi pandava. So whatever we say as sannyasi is also yogi, karma yogi, because nobody can become a karma yogi without renunciation of actions. Okay, Now, the person who does not give up his actions, then he does not become, that is, not give up action, giving up sankalpa sannyasam. Sankalpa means what? I am doing this for the sake of something is called sankalpam. So a person who is not driven by raga dvesha, he is just doing it for the sake of doing it, which is his duty, then he is supposed to be called a Sanyasta Sankalpa. He has given up the Sankalpa for any desires to be met, for Karma Pada to be met. So he himself is a Karma Yogi. So he says that both Sannyasi and Yogi are same in this particular verse also. Next one, Aru Rukshor Munehe Yogam Karma Karana Muchyate. A person, a Karma Yogi, if he wants to advance in his Karma Yoga, so initially he has to know that he has got to have a life of Karma Yoga, because his purpose of life is to get liberation in this life itself. So he has understood the path of Karma Yoga. When he wants to advance in Karma Yoga, Aruruhu, then karma is the primary mean. He has got to be engaged in the world of activities. But when he's engaged in the world of activities, he has got to be very, very clear that he will have a karma yoga buddhi, prasada buddhi, ishwarpana buddhi, and do not have any dependence on karma pala. So when that is the kind of attitude he has, and then he engages with the world, does all kinds of things that is to be done by him without any selfish interest, then he starts advancing as a karma yogi. Once he has become a karma yogi, then he is not driven by his raga dveshas, then he is called a yoga ruda. At that point, he is called a yoga ruda. So once he has come to be called as a yoga ruda, then what is that he has got to do further? Shama karana uchyate. Then he has got to get into silence. Silence means meditation is going to be the mean for him to further move towards realization. Okay, so yoga ruda means a person who is ready for, he is already overcome the raga dveshas. He does not do any karma based on desires, selfish needs, and he is called yoga ruda. And that particular point is already now qualified. And then for him to further move up, shama karana muchyate, then he has got to get into quietude, peace. That is, only meditation will be able to take him to the next level of realization. Okay, so this is what we have done yesterday. So we'll move further.
Srimati Bhagini.
Yada hinendriyarteshu.
Namaste, Mahodaya.
Namaste.
Yada hinendriyarteshu
Na karmasvanusajjate.
na karmasvanushajjate
Yada hinendriyarteshu. Na karmasvanusajjate.
Yeda hinendriyarteshu na karmasvanusajjate. Yeda hinendriyarteshu na karmasvanusajjate.
Here there are two words, no? Karmasu, anushajjate. Karmasu, in karmas. Anushajjate, does not get entangled with, does not get attached to. Karmasu, anushajjate, become karmas anushajjate. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Once
Thank
again, yada hinendriyatheshu na karmasvanushajjate.
Yeda hinendriyarteshu na karmasvanusajjate. Yeda hinendriyarteshu na karmasvanusajjate. Sorry. Na karmasva svanusha, I should say.
Karmasvanushajjate.
Na karmasvanusajjate.
Okay.
Na karmasvanusajjate.
Next.
Sharat Chavan Mahodaya.
Sarva Sannyasi.
Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi.
Yogarudasta dochyate.
Yogarudasta dochyate. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi.
Yogarudasta, tell it twice. Yogarudasta dochyate.
Yogarudasta dochyate.
Yogarudaha
Yogarudaha
uchyate. That is,
dochyate.
okay. Yogarudasta dochyate.
Yogarudasta dochyate.
Now, if you look at this, I just wanted to clarify. This has got three words. Yoga Rudasta Dochyate. We started off this particular shloka with Yada. Yada means when. Then, whenever you put when, then you have to have done. Yada Yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttana madharmasya tadatmanam. So, when you have Yada, Tada should come in the shloka to end it. So, it starts with Yada. So, here it is Yoga Rudaha Tada Uchyate. Yoga Rudaha Tada Uchyate becomes Tadochate. Yoga Rudaha Tadochate becomes Yoga Rudas Tadochate. Uchyate means it is being told. It is being told. Vajra Buvacha. Uchyate means it is being, what is the right language for this? Is being called. Is being called as Yoga Ruda. Okay, Yoga Rudaha Tada Uchyate. Tada Uchyate becomes Tadochate. Yoga Rudaha Tada Uchyate becomes Yoga Rudas Tadochate. Okay, shall you chant Yoga Rudas Tadochate?
Yogarudasta dochyate. Yoga Yogarudasta dochyate.
Okay. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yoga Rudasta Dochyate.
Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Yogarudasta dochyate.
Dochyate.
Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Yogarudasta dochyate.
Okay. Next.
Usha Srinivasan Bhagini.
Yes, sir.
Yada hinendriyatheshu na karmasvanusajjate.
Yada hinendriyarteshu na karmasvanusajjate. Yada hinendriyarteshu na karmasvanusajjate.
Next.
Rajeshwari Shivashankar Bhagini.
Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yoga Rudastha Dochyate.
Ram Ram sir. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yoga Rudhasta Dochyate. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yoga Rudhasta Dochyate.
Good. Next.
Kashmira Bhagini.
Yada hinendriyatheshu na karmasvanusajjate.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
Namaste Mahoday.
Namaste.
Yeda hinendriyadheshu na karma svanusajjate. Yeda hinendriyadheshu na karma svanusajjate.
Good. Next.
Leena Mehul Dama Bhagini.
Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yoga Rudhastha Dochyate.
Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi योगारूढस्तदोच्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Next.
Gurumurthy Mahodaya.
First line 2 times.
Yes, sir. यदा हीनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते यदा हीनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते.
Good. Next.
Lakshmi Bibi Bhagini.
सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Good. Next.
Sai Lakshmi Bhagini.
The entire shloka once.
Namaste Mahoday.
Namaste.
यदा हीनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Good. Next.
Rajalakshmi Bhagini.
नमस्ते महोदय. यदा हीनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Good. Next.
Sri Lakshmi Bhagini.
Yes, namaste Mahodaya. Both lines, sir.
Yeah, sure. Both the lines.
यदा हिनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Karma svanushajyate.
यदा हिनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सज्जते सर.
I heard you say yada hinendriyatheshu na
कर्मस्वनुषज्यते कर्मस्वनुषज्यते. करेक्ट सर.
Shajyate.
हाँ. यदा हिनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Okay. Next.
Vijayalakshmi R Bhagini.
Namaste Mahoday.
Namaste.
यदा हीनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Good. Next. One more person.
Banu Rekha Bhagini.
यदा हिनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
One more person.
Shanti Badri Bhagini.
नमस्कारं.
Namaskaram.
यदा हिनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वनुषज्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते.
Good. So now, if you look at the previous shloka, Yoga Rudaha we understood. Okay. Yoga Rudaha is a person who has been able to move up in advance himself in terms of Karma Yoga. So he is a Karma Yogi practitioner for a long time and he has been able to overcome ragas and dveshas, no desires, and he does the thing only for the sake of doing it when it is a duty for him to do without karma pala. We saw it in the previous shloka also. He is called a Yoga Ruda. Okay. Then this Yoga Ruda in the second this shloka, Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi Yoga Rudaha Uchyate. The person who renounces all kinds of desires. Okay, there's no Sankalpa. I am sure that all of you will understand Sankalpa. No? Whenever we go for any function, Anything we do, we have a sankalpa. Even for Amavasya Tarpana, we say I am making a sankalpam for the satisfaction of my pitrus. We call them and say Mama Pat Samasta, we do that. Then we say that Saha Kurumba, Shemas, Terja, Virja, Vijaya, Agidaro, Kaishparya, Abhivrityatam, Ishtakama, Siddhyatam. We put all those things, all these things should happen to me. That is called a sankalpa. The person who does not do any sankalpa means he does not want anything. He is a sarva sankalpa sannyasi. He has got no desires. He has renounced all his desires. He has got no raga dvesha which is going to make him to do anything for the sake of his personal need. But he will continue to do what is required to be done. So he is called a sarva sankalpa sannyasi. That sarva sankalpa sannyasi is called as a yoga rudaha uchyate. They are calling him as yoga rudaha uchyate. Yoga ruda. So the yoga tada uchyate, tada yoga ruda uchyate. When do they say that he is yoga ruda? Yada, when na indriyarteshu anushajyate, na karmasu anushajyate. That means anushajyate means attached. He is not attached to indriyarteshu. Indriyarteshu means what? That is the objects of sense pleasures. Indriyarteshu na anushajyate. He is not attached to objects of sense objects which are going to provide him with some sense satisfaction, sensory satisfaction. Na indriyarteshu anushajyate. One. Second thing, na karmasu anushajyate. He is also not attached to actions. Just because I want to do something, he will not do. He will do only what is to be done. Then similarly, he is not going to be a slave to the senses, sensory organs. So this particular person, is yoga ruda, is not going to be coming under the spell of the sensory objects or coming a spell of doing some karma. Just like that for doing some karma. So he cannot be getting himself attached to the karmas or to the world of objects. Then only is called a sarva sankalpa sannyasi. Then the sarva sankalpa sannyasi is a yoga ruda, which means that he has advanced in yoga. Yoga ruda means he has advanced. No, we all start off with karma. All of us are initially is called karmis. Karmis means we continue to do action for taking care of our selfish desires. Karmi is done when we come to Vedanta classes. Then karmi we try to move towards karma yogi. Karma yogi, it takes a long time to really come out of raga dveshas and then do a kind of a karma. It takes a long time. It's not going to be easy process that just to change the switch, then everything becomes a karma yogi. No, it takes a lot of time because we have to work on raga dvesha. Bhagavan continues to harp on this kama krodha right from the second chapter. He starts talking about that because he feels that it is very, very important and it is very difficult for people to overcome. So over a period of time, a person becomes a karma yogi. Then he becomes a sarva sankalpa sannyasi. Then he becomes advanced in the karma yoga, yoga ruda. That is the time when he is called yoga ruda, because he has renounced all his actions. Okay, which means that he has got no selfish desires. He is not impelled by raga dveshas. Okay, so he is a yoga ruda. Now, next sloka.
Sheila Shinde Bhagini.
Yes, sir.
Uddharedatmanatmanam.
Uddharedatmanatmanam. Uddharedatmanatmanam.
Atmanamavasadayet.
Natmanamavasadayet. Natmanamavasadayet.
Uddharedatmanatmanam. Natmanamavasadayet.
Uddharedatmanatmanam. Natmanamavasadayet. Uddharedatmanatmanam. Natmanamavasadayet.
Good. Next.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
Atmaiva hyatmano bandhuhu.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
First pada. Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu. Read 2 times.
आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः
Atmaiva Ripuratmanah.
आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः
Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu. Atmaiva Ripuratmanah.
आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः आत्मैन ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
Very good. Next.
Kashmira Bhagini.
Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanamavasadayet.
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानम् अवसादयेत् उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानम् अवसादयेत्.
Good. Next.
Usha Srinivasan Bhagini.
Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu. Atmaiva Ripuratmanah.
आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
Good. Next.
Mrinalini Gopalan Bhagini.
First line 2 times.
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत्.
Good. Next.
Lakshmi Bibi Bhagini.
Second line 2 times.
Yes, sir. Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu. Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu. Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha.
Good. Next.
K Lalita Bhagini.
Entire shloka once.
Yes, sir. उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
Good. Next.
Rajalakshmi Bhagini.
Entire shloka once.
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
Good. Next.
Rajeshwari Shivashankar Bhagini.
उत्तरेतात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मने बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
Good. Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
Yes, Mother. Full sloka, Mother.
Full stop.
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
Next.
Leena Mehuldama Bhagini.
उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः.
One more person.
Gurumurthy Mahodaya.
उद्धरेतात्मानत्मानं
No. Uttarede Atmana Atmanam. Uttarede Atmana Atmanam.
Uttaredatmana Atmana
Atmanam.
Uttaredatmanatmanam Natmanava Sadayed Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhuhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha.
One more person.
Shanti Badri Bhagini.
Yes, sir. Uddharedātmanātmānam nātmānamavasādhayet ātmaiva hyātmano bandhuhu ātmaiva ripurātmanah.
Okay, good. So this particular shloka, so we have got one English example for this. We say that, we always say that you should raise, you are your own friend and you are your own enemy. Now we say that, no, you are your own friend, you are your own enemy. That's what we say that. It is not that there is an external enemy that is going to be there for somebody. So the enemy is within ourselves, the friend is also within ourselves. So the actual meaning of this shloka is you are your own enemy and you are your own friend. And the other thing is that here in this shloka, it is Atmana, Atmanam, Na Atmanam Avasadayet, Atma Eva hi Atmano Bandhuhu, Atma Eva Ripuhu Atmanah. You find this Atma coming a number of times. So we have to be very clear about it. If you look at the Sanskrit language and also in Bhagavad Gita and many of the Vedantic texts, Atma, primarily we say that Atma is the divinity inside ourselves. But Atma is also used in many places in Sanskrit, in all the Upanishads as well as Bhagavad Gita, to mean mind. Okay, so mind can also be called as Atma, body can also be called as Atma, Buddhi can also be called as Atma. So all these things are also called as Atma. So when we are reading a shloka, we have to be understanding it very clearly, which is the meaning of Atma that we need to take for this particular shloka. Okay, because we all know that the divinity inside ourselves, that Atma that we say, that is the Parabrahman, that particular Atma is absolutely untouched. Okay, it does not have any kind of bondage to the karma or bondage to the papa or punya. It is Satchitananda Atma. Okay, so that Satchitananda Atma is not going to be entangled with the world of activities. So when we are looking at a shloka, based on the context of the shloka, we may have to understand what is that we are talking about. Okay. Now in this shloka, Uttarede Atmana Atmanam. Uttared means raise. Okay. One should raise himself by himself. That is the meaning of the first pada. One should raise himself by himself. Okay. One should raise himself by himself. Na Atmanam Avasadayet. And one should not sink himself. The first line says, one should raise himself, and one should not sink himself. Because he, the second line says, Hyatmana, no? The he is there. He Atmana becomes Hyatmano. Okay. He, because Atma Eva, only the individual, Atmana, for the individual, can be a friend, Bandhuhu, and Atma Eva, for the individual, Ripuhu Atmana, can be an enemy for the individual. So this is the famous term that you are your own friend and you are your own enemy. So when we talk about that, I am sure that all of you would have got the meaning behind it. It is not, whenever you are going to be sunk, no, other people can only facilitate you to really come up and cheer you up. But you yourself should only come out of any kind of challenge and cheer you up and take you up. So what the Bhagavan says is that you are responsible for raising yourself. And you are not supposed to put you down. You are not supposed to sink because you are your own friend and you are your own enemy. So this is a beautiful poetic composition of the English term of you are your own friend and you are your own enemy. And Bhagavan says that you have to be taking responsibility for yourself. So when you talk about you yourself, you have to really make out it is all in the mind. The mind is going to be the one which is going to be really controlled. How do you control the mind? Again, by the mind. Atma is not going to come and control the mind. The mind has to be again controlled by your intellect. So this entire thing, rising up the Atma, rising up yourself, or seeking yourself, you have to manage within the tenets of your buddhi and mind, and ensure that you are going to rise yourself up. You are not going to sink yourself, because you are your own friend and you are your own enemy. You want to go for a walk from the everyday morning at 5:30. I want to go for a walk. Okay, you have made a decision and you went to sleep. Next day morning, you switch off the alarm. Then what happens? Who is responsible for that? You are responsible for that. You are responsible for your actions. So what I am telling is that you then, supposing you want to overcome that kind of inertia that you have, then you have to put that effort. Okay, now you understand what you is within your mind and intellect complex only. And only the mind and intellect complex have got to understand what should be done and what should not be done. And that makes it very, very important for people to have a very high control of the mind. So here the Shloka says that it is your responsibility, because the Vedas can tell you what you are supposed to do. Books will, the satsangs and gurus will tell you what you have to do. At the end of the day, what you have to do and what you will be doing and what you will not be doing is all in your own hand. It is not in the Atma, it is all in your own hand, which means that body is again a slave for mind. And the buddhi is again higher than the mind. So between the mind and buddhi, it is your responsibility to take care of yourself. Okay. So that is the meaning of this particular shloka. It's a very beautiful poetic shloka which we can all remember. Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayete atmaivahyatmano bandhu atmaivari. You can be your own friend. You can be your own enemy. You have to decide how are you going to be yourself. How are you going to manage yourself. Okay. It is the enemy in the sense that it can be in all aspects. Even when you are having a diabetes and getting a sensation for taking rasagulla, you yourself can control, Other, if you don't do that, you say, okay, once more, no, I'll take it only today. Then it becomes, you are becoming enemy to your own self. Only today, tomorrow I will not take. Again, tomorrow I will say, from tomorrow I will not take. So it will go on like that, which means that you are the enemy for yourself, right? So that is we have to understand it very clearly that it is within the mind and the intellect complex we have to manage. And the way we are able to manage our mind and intellect is going to decide whether we are having things under our control or not. Only when it is under our control, it is going to be beneficial for us. Otherwise, it's going to be different. Because there are two dictators sitting in the mind. The two dictators are Raga and Dvesha. Raga will propel you to do whatever you want to do. Dvesha will tell you, don't do this. So there are two big bosses sitting in you. One boss telling you, you do these things. Another boss tells you, do these things. And if you are going to be in the spell of these two bosses, Raga and Dvesha, you are out of control. It's because they will try to push you to the brim. So you have to handle these fellow Ragas and Dveshas and then bring it under control. That is the time when you are able to bring them under control. That is the time when you become a Yoga Ruda. Next.
Sai Lakshmi Bagini.
Bandhuratmatmanastasya.
Bandhuratmatmanastasya. Bandhuratmatmanastasya.
The thing is that it should be Bandhuhu Atma Atmanaha Tasya. Atma Atmanaha Atmanatmana. Okay, I heard it is Atma Mana. It is not Mana. Bandhuhu Atma Atmanaha Tasya. So it should be pronounced Bandhuratmatmanastasya.
Bandhuratmatmanastasya. Bandhuratmatmanastasya.
Yenatmaivatmanajitaha.
Yenatmaivatmanajitaha. Yenatmaivatmanajitaha.
Bandhuratmatmanastasya. Yenatmaivatmanajitaha.
Bandhuratmatmanastasya. Yenatmaivatmanajitaha. Bandhuratmatmanastasya. Yenatmaivatmanajitaha.
Next.
Sri Bhagini.
Anatmanastu shatrutve varte. Anatmanastu shatrutve.
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे
वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Next.
Vijayalakshmi Bhagini.
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः.
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः. बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः.
Good. Next.
Sharat Chavan Mohodaya.
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
अनात्मनवस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मेव शत्रुवतः अनात्मनवस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मेव शत्रुवतः.
There's no vatah shatruvat. There's half matra there.
शत्रुवत्. Okay. अनात्मनवस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मेव शत्रुवतः
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे.
अनात्मनवस्तु शत्रुत्वे.
No manava. There's no mana. It is anatmanah tu anatmanah. Anatmanah tu is anatmanastu.
अनात्मनमस्तु अनात्मनमस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मे.
One second, Bhavadiya.
Yes, sir.
Atmanah is one word. Atmanah. This is anatmanah. That's all. Anatmanah. Tu means hence or but.
Okay.
Yeah.
अनात्मनस्तु.
One second.
अनात्मनस्तु.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Anatmanah tu becomes anatmanastu.
Okay. अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवतः.
Okay, next.
Bhanureka Bhagini.
Second line 2 times.
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Next.
Sheela Shinde Bhagini.
First line 2 times.
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः.
Good. Next.
Mrinalini Gopalan Bhagini.
Second line 2 times.
अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Next.
Usha Srinivasan Bhagini.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, both the lines once.
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Next,
Rajeshwari Shivashankar Bhagini.
both the lines once.
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Good. Next.
Lakshmi Bibi Bhagini.
बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Good. Next.
Kashmira Bhagini.
बन्धुरात्मा मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Good. Next.
Shanti Badri Bhagini.
Yes, sir. Bandhuratmatmanastasya येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
More person.
Gurumurthy Mahodaya.
Yes, sir. बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मनास्ति जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्.
Good. So we'll go to the meaning of that. In the previous shloka, they used the term ripuhu atmanah. Ripuhu means enemy. Here they have put shatru. Shatru is also enemy. So only thing is for the shloka and for the kind of meters, etc. Perhaps they have used two different words, but both means the same. Ripuhu is also enemy. Shatru is also enemy. Shatruvate, Shatrutve is all enemy. Okay. So now in the first line we have jitaha. Jitaha means won over, conquered. What is that? The person has to conquer a yogi, and yogi has to conquer his raga dveshas. He has got to renounce his desires. Okay. Then, if you look at that way, you have to continue to remember that raga and dvesha are two big bosses sitting in your mind and then directing you what you should do. So if you are going to be under the spell of those two bosses and do whatever those two bosses are telling, you will not be able to overcome raga dvesha. So you have to come out of the spell of these big fellows sitting in the mind, raga and dvesha. So the person who has conquered that is a jitaha. The person who has conquered his raga dveshas is the jitaha. He has won over them. Who is that? Yena atma eva atmana jitaha. The one who has been able to conquer his self by himself. Yena atma eva. Eva means with atma only. Yena atma eva atmana jitaha. The one who has been able to conquer himself with the self. Conquer himself is conquer the two fellows sitting in the mind, raga dveshas, by himself. Then what happens to him, his self? Then bandhuhu atma, bandhuhu atma, atmanah tasya. Then for that particular person, the self becomes his friend. The previous shloka also told the same thing. The person who has been able to conquer his two raga dveshas, for him, his self itself is a very good friend. But anatmanastu, the person who has not been able to conquer his raga dveshas, the two fellows sitting in the mind, anatmanastu, shatrutve, he is going to be an enemy. And he behaves as an enemy. His raga dveshas sitting in the mind will make him as a will behave as though an enemy is trying to support you. Then he will not be able, he will not allow you to progress in your spiritual journey. So he will behave. Varteta means he will behave. Atma eva shatruvate. The self himself will start behaving as an enemy, and he will not be allowing you to progress in your spiritual journey. So it is primarily you have to win over, conquer yourself over the two raga, the two enemies, that is raga and dvesha sitting in your mind. If you are able to conquer them, then your own self is a friend for you. If you are not going to conquer them, then they are like your enemy and they will continue to lead you. Your life will be only driven by raga and dveshas, and you will not be able to make any kind of spiritual journey. So that is the previous shloka and this shloka has got some kind of similarities of meaning. The first one is Uddared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadye Atmaiva Hyatmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanah Bandhuratmatmanastasya Yenatvaim Atmanajitah Anatmanasu Shatrutve Vartetatmaiva Shatruvat. So these two are almost same meaning, but he says that we have to conquer Jita. We have to start. Previous shloka said you have to only rise yourself. How do you rise yourself? You have to conquer your raga dveshas. Okay. Next. Okay, once you conquer these raga dveshas, okay, and you are the boss of the mind, the raga dveshas are not playing with you, then what happens? Next.
Veena Fanishri Bhagini.
Jitatmanah prashantasya.
Veena Fanishri Bhagini. Okay, she's not there. K. Lalita Bhagini.
Jitatmanah prashantasya.
Jitatmanah prashantasya. Jitatmanah prashantasya.
Paramatma samahitah.
Paramatma samahitah. Paramatma samahitah.
Jitatmanah prashantasya. Paramatma samahitah.
Jitatmanah prashantasya. Paramatma samahitah. Jitatmanah prashantasya. Paramatma samahitah.
Next.
Veena Fanishri Bhagini.
Shitoshna sukha dukkeshu.
She unmuted now. Okay.
ಶೀತೋಷ್ಣ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖೇಶು ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಸರಿ.
Now we are hearing you.
ಶೀತೋಷ್ಣ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖೇಶು ಶೀತೋಷ್ಣ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖೇಶು
Tha manapamanayoh.
ತಥಾ ಮಾನಾಪಮಾನಯೋಃ ತಥಾ ಮಾನಾಪಮಾನಯೋಃ
Shitoshna sukha dukkeshu. Tha manapamanayoh.
ಶೀತೋಷ್ಣ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖೇಶು ತಥಾ ಮಾನಾಪಮಾನಯೋಃ ಶೀತೋಷ್ಣ ಸುಖ ದುಃಖೇಶು ತಥಾ ಮಾನಾಪಮಾನಯೋಃ.
The kha should be pronounced sukha. Sukha dukkeshu. Okay. It should be that Mahaprana you should use. Next.
Krishna Pavani Bhagini.
Jitatmanah prashantasya. Paramatma samahitah.
Jitatmanah prashantasya. Paramatma samahitah. Jitatmanah prashantasya. Paramatma samahitah.
Good. Next.
Rajalakshmi Bhagini.
Shitoshna sukha dukkeshu. Tatha manapamanayoh.
शीतोष्णः सुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णः सुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
Next.
Srimati Bhagini.
First line 2 times.
Yes, Madhya. जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
Good. Next.
लीना मेहुल नामा भगिनी.
The full shloka once.
जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
Good. Next.
श्रीलक्ष्मी भगिनी.
Yes. जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
Good. Next.
साई लक्ष्मी भगिनी.
जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
Good. Next.
विजयलक्ष्मी आर भगिनी.
आत्मानः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
First line once.
जितात्मानः
No,
प्रशान्तस्य.
it is Jitatmana, not Mana. Jitatmanah prashantasya.
जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
Good. Next. More person.
काश्मीरा भगिनी.
जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः.
Good. So next, the previous shloka, we said that Yena Atma Eva Atmana Jitaha. We said that the one who has conquered, one who is able to conquer his own self. His own self means conquer the ragas and dveshas in his mind, the person who has conquered. So that's what we said, Jitaha. So Jitatmana Prashantasya. Once you are able to conquer the two devils sitting in the mind of raga dveshas, and you are able, that is conquering your own self or keeping yourself under control, jitatmanaha, the one who has won over himself, prashantasya, he becomes absolutely quiet. He becomes absolutely calm. There is no raga dveshas which is asking him to go out for the worldly things. He has got no desires that is asking him to do any work. He does na indriyateshu nas anusajjate. There's nothing that is sense object. The sense objects are not tempting him to start going up to the world of objects. And prashantasya, he has already conquered raga and dveshas. So prashantasya, he has got absolute calmness coming in him. And then paramatma samahitaha, he is able to establish himself very well with himself. That is the big I, the atma, the divine self. He is able to establish himself. Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitaha. He is able to establish himself very well inside his own divinity or the paramatma. And sitotna sukha dukkha. Sitam, heat, like Bangalore weather today or India weather today, it's very, very hot. Or Sita is hot, cold, Uttam is hot, Sukha and Dukkha. So what he's telling is, opposites are going to be there always in life. You may have a high temperature, you may have a low temperature, you may have a Sukha, Dukkha, all those things will be there in your life. Similarly, you may also have Mana, Apamana. Praise as well as insults also may be there. But this person will not get into any kind of issues because Jitatmanaha, he has already conquered the two devils. If you have not done that, this particular person need not require any praise by anybody. This particular person does not require any, he doesn't care for the insults of other people. There's also one good example, Albert Einstein was once, he became world famous. as a scientist, and then he was taking a cab. So he just hailed a cab, and then he got into the cab, and then he was driving to some place in the car. He was taking a ride in the taxi to some place. That time the driver said, "Oh, you are Dr. Albert Einstein. Oh, you are a smart guy," he said. So he said that, maybe he recognized, but you mean to say that the price of that particular person telling that he's a smart guy is going to impact him? He was just unmoved. He doesn't require any endorsement from anybody for him to be smart. So he doesn't want to require his endorsement. Similarly, somebody might insult, look at his hair, Albert Einstein's hair. It's like shabby. He does not know how to even comb his hair. He's not bothered. So mana, praise, apamana, insult will not touch him because he knows himself, that he knows himself to be the greatest scientist who has identified the theory of relativity, many things. Similarly, the person who has jitatmanaha, the one who has conquered, he is not going to be quiet down by price or insults or changes in the weather like Sitoshna, Sukha, or those that is externally, Ushna and Sita. Those things externally to the body will not affect him. Sukha, Dukha, emotion, that will not impact him. Mana, apamana, what somebody else talks about him, longing for recognition, does not affect him. He is absolutely at peace, absolutely at his own thing. He is very happy. So jitatmana, prashantasya. Why this is required is that he is now at a stage where he knows very clearly there's nothing that is required from outside for him to be happy. He can be happy within himself. So rather than going out in the world, he has got to go himself inside, which means that there's no need for him to do anything world of action. He is prashanta. He has got to go inside. He has got to go into meditation, and then he has got to see and understand himself, realize himself. So that is the thing. So we have to conquer the two devils, that is raga and dvesha. Then only we'll be able to have a prashanta manas. Then we'll be able to get peace. And that is, Bhagavan is slowly introducing the characteristics like this, so that the meditative thing, samahitaha, how do you establish yourself in the Bhagavan? By prashantaha, you have to be calm, absolutely calm, peaceful with yourself. And then when you're starting to contemplate, you will be able to go and then realize that you are the same Bhagavan, same Brahman. So he is now slowly leading to the meditative practice. Okay. So we'll close the class at this time. Okay. Yada hinendriyatheshu na karmasvanushajjate sarvak sankalpa sanyasi yogarudastadochyate उत्तरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानमवसादयेत् आत्मैव ह्यात्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत् जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो